Hey guys, Robbie Falk here from Maroon and White Daily at On 3, and we just finished our coverage here of the SEC tournament. Mississippi State bows out in the semifinals with a 73-66 loss to a great Auburn team that's playing some great basketball. Bulldogs really fought in this game. I thought it was really it was tough for them to come now in day 3 of this tournament and have the same kind of not effort, but energy that they had in the first 2 ball games. They didn't play very well against LSU in the first half, but the last 3 halves for Mississippi State coming into this ball game against Auburn, they really had a lot of intensity. They did it the entire ball game against Tennessee. Second half of LSU was great, and I thought they started off pretty well in this game against Auburn, but I did think that you saw as the game wore on for Mississippi State, the team looked a little tired. And I know free throws have been an issue for Mississippi State this year, but they've been shooting it fairly well here down the stretch the last few ball games. And I do think that the fatigue might have played a factor into their free throw shooting a little bit in this game as well. Just kind of losing the legs a little bit. I think that had a little something to do with it, but obviously didn't affect Josh Hubbard. He was very good from the free throw line. He kind of carried Mississippi State down the stretch from the line in from the field when, quite frankly, the offense was really struggling. They just could not get a lot of offensive production from guys like Tolu Smith, again, who kind of is continuing to struggle. Was 3 for 8 from the field, missing more bunnies. He's really struggled for Mississippi State the last few games. And then, Josh Hubbard had 3 points in the first half, but it didn't seem to affect Mississippi State long term because it was a 31-31 ball game. It was a brand new ball game in the second half. State just got 3 points from Cam Matthews in this game. I think a lot of it had to do with what Auburn was doing defensively, the Tolu Smith, Josh Hubbard, and Cam Matthews, keeping them really from affecting the ball game offensively. And I thought State did a good job defensively too against Auburn for a good portion of the game. The Tigers were able to get hot in 2 different parts of that ball game. One was middle to late first half. After they started 1 for 6 from the field, they made 9 of their next 10 shots. And that was huge for them because State had kind of gained the momentum early in the game. They were playing the game on their terms like they did in Starkville when they beat Auburn. And the Tigers were able to start knocking down some shots. And then it was kind of back and forth for the 2 teams until halftime when the game was tied at 31. State really dominated the boards in the first half. They led 21-9 rebounding, and they had 12 offensive rebounds. Auburn did a good job keeping them off the glass offensively in the second half, and that affected Mississippi State and what they were doing offensively there too. But that first half, last 10 minutes or middle of the way, around the 10-minute mark or whatever it was when that happened, was big. And then late in the game, Auburn closing the way that they did was really big too, because State had taken a 9-point deficit and had gotten back in the ballgame with a 7-0 run that was kind of spearheaded by Josh Hubbard. They got it back to 1 point with 5 minutes left. Josh Hubbard had gone from having 3 points to all of a sudden he had 17. Really went on a run there in the second half to get Mississippi State back in the ballgame when they were struggling offensively, and kind of started on the defensive end as he was able to get things going, and Mississippi State's backcourt was able to get some turnovers and turn them into points on the other end. After that timeout, I thought Auburn took over the game from there. Dylan Carwell had back-to-back dunks that was able to push the lead right back out to, 5 points, I guess, and State was kind of playing catch-up from there. They got it back to 3 in the final 20 seconds, but just couldn't get over the hump there late in the ball game, and they come up short 73-66. But all in all, just a great week for Mississippi State. They came into this tournament needing to win 1 game to really feel solid about their NCAA chances. They left no doubt. They came in and they beat LSU by double digits. They beat Tennessee by double digits. Just major metric wins for Mississippi State going into the NCAA tournament. They left no doubt. This team is in the NCAA tournament. They will hear their name called for the 2nd straight season, and it will not be in a play-in game. This is a team that's probably going to be around the 8-9 margin, I think. This is probably going to be an 8-9 seed for Mississippi State, which is tough because you got a 1 seed in round 2 if you win that first game. But at this point, you're trying to lay the foundation as Chris Jan's program is really getting going, and you're going to have back-to-back NCAA tournament trips. And this is a win for Mississippi State to be able to get firmly into the tournament and make progress again this year. But this is a team that's going to be very dangerous in this tournament. The way that they're playing right now, you can just see it. I think that this was a disappointing outcome for Mississippi State, but you're playing an Auburn team that's probably going to be a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Top 10 team, quite possibly. After this week, they came in 12th. And right now, playing like a top 10 team. Mississippi State's beat them earlier this year. They had a chance to win this game too. You have tested yourself against some of the best teams in the country. You beat Tennessee twice. You've been right in the game with Kentucky, who is a top 20 team. You've been in the game against Alabama. It's a top 20 team. You beat Auburn. You nearly beat them again. So this team has been tested over and over again. You've been in the game against South Carolina, which is a top 15 team as well. They've been as tested as just about anybody in the country this year as Mississippi State, and they're going to go into that NCAA tournament with a chip on their shoulder. Nobody believes that this team can make a run, but they have the team capable of doing that, especially if they're able to do some things offensively. We saw Rams Davis come to the forefront in the first 2 wins. Didn't do it today. He only had 4 points, but he really had a good tournament, I thought, the first 2 ball games. Cam Matthews obviously gave Mississippi State a lift on offense as well. DJ Jeffries had 12 points today. Different guys have been stepping up. If Tolu Smith can get going and you have all these other pieces that are really getting going, this team plays defense in a way that is very difficult for teams in a short period of time to prepare for it. It's tough for teams in the SEC to prepare for it that see Mississippi State twice. For a team that has to prepare for it maybe in like a day's time or even 3 or 4 days time, it's going to be difficult. This is a team that really can test you and test your will. They're very physical. Mississippi State is a team that could make a run in this thing, and I believe they're playing very good basketball right now. Had they gotten a bye in that second bye, this could be a team that is playing for an SEC championship. I think playing that 3rd game in 3 days was difficult for this team and their legs, and Sunday would have been even more difficult. I think that would have been very tough for them, especially if they would have played somewhere like Florida, who's only played 2 games. I think you have to consider those things. But I think the main takeaway from me after today was seeing Mississippi State have that effort against Auburn and still playing fairly well here. I think this is a team that is on a really nice plane, and this is coming after losing 4 straight games. They were they lost 4 games, but I didn't think they were playing terribly. They just couldn't find a way to win a couple of those against Kentucky and A&M, and then you lost on the road against South Carolina and Kentucky, and then A&M and Auburn were not your best games. But I didn't think they were playing terrible basketball. They just couldn't really get over the hump. And now that you do, I think you have a team that's gaining confidence. It's a veteran team and on top of that, you have a freshman in Josh Hubbard that's not playing like a freshman. 7 out of his last 8 games, he scored 20 or more points. He's now transitioned into basically a sophomore. When you get to this point of your freshman season, you're not a freshman anymore. You're pretty much a sophomore, and that's what we've seen from Josh Hubbard. So Mississippi State's playing good basketball, guys. I think this is going to be a team that's going to be difficult to deal with, and there could be some special things ahead, but right now what you're looking for when you get in the tournament is just getting that monkey off your back and finally getting another win in the NCAA tournament for the first time in a long time. And that's what you're looking for here. You're looking for progress from Chris Jan's teams, which you've already seen, but you would like to take another step here. This would be big for Mississippi State, win a couple of games or something in that nature, and kind of build on that in the offseason when you're going to have to go in the transfer portal and have a good haul there and try to retain some of this roster too for next year as well. So tough outcome for the Bulldogs, but all in all, a great week here in Nashville. Really enjoyed myself. Had an excellent experience here. Paul Jones is going to be back on the coverage beat full-time for the men, and we'll see what happens with the women. I'll be covering them if they progress into the NCAA tournament or WNIT or whatever they're going to be doing next week. We'll have full coverage for you on both sports. And then we got baseball. Really good win for Mississippi State on the baseball forefront against LSU. on Friday night. Not going so well right now. State's getting pounded 5-1 early, giving up 3 or 4 home runs at this point. It's been a bad start for the Bulldogs. So we could be looking at a rubber game on Sunday, and I'll be there to cover that. And then we'll have, obviously, selection Sunday coverage coming your way for the men and the women. So stay tuned for that. And also don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe to maroonandwhitedaily.com. And we'd love to see you over there and check out what we got going over there for some really fun times coming next week. We got spring football starting up next week. We got basketball, baseball. It's really going to be a fun month for Mississippi State sports. And moving forward into the summer, we're going to have coverage of recruiting, things like that. So make sure you're tuned in to the best Mississippi State site out there, Maroon and White Daily. Appreciate you guys for following along. I'm about to get in the truck, head back to Mathiston, Mississippi, and I'll be in Mississippi in about 4.5 hours. So we'll see how the road brings us home. All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys for following the coverage and for your support too. We're definitely not done. Mississippi State's got basketball still to be played, and we'll be there to cover it. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you down the road.